Hi, Andrea. Thank you so much for gracing me with your presence today to do this interview. I'm looking forward to talking about Romance of the Enclosed Garden. Can you state your name and tell us the title of your book and maybe something about yourself?
Okay, my name is Andrea Oliva Florendo, and the title of my book is Romance of the Enclosed Garden of the Song of Songs. What can I tell about myself? I'm a gardener, for one. I am a harpist. I'm a teacher, a professor at St. John's University. I teach theology and religious studies. I am a certified harp therapist, and at the same time, I am a visual artist.
Well, thank you. That's a lot. I mean, that's why you have these beautiful roses behind you. I didn't know you were a gardener, but they look amazing even just looking through this video. So
Thank you.
thank you, Andrea. Now, how many books have you written? And
I
which
have written about two: The Liturgy of Flowers in a Merry Garden, and the second one is just released this month, Romance of the Enclosed Garden.
and so far, which one is your favorite?
I like them both. More autobiographical in a sense. The first one, The Liturgy of Flowers in a Merry Garden, is something that has been eclipsed by modern times. It was the Merry Garden, the concept of a medieval garden dedicated to the Virgin, has been very popular in the 14th century, right after the plague, the bubonic plague. And monks would, start gardening dedicated to the Virgin for mercy and compassion and intercession. So I found out about this when I was a research fellow at Yale University Divinity School. I found prints and engravings of Mary gardens in the 14th century, and I began to be interested to really dwell on the meaning of the flowers symbolizing Mary's attributes, mysteries, and virtues.
And so, what is the significance of the title Romance of the Enclosed Garden, Song of Songs?
Yes. Well, the Bible is always punctuated by gardens. In the beginning, in the book of Genesis, you have a garden, which is the Garden of Eden. When you go to the end of the Bible, you have the New Jerusalem, the Garden of New Jerusalem. But when you go to the middle part, you will find the Song of Songs. And there is another garden, and it's called the Enclosed Garden. So since I am a gardener and I create Mary Gardens in the Diocese of Brooklyn and Queens, I decided to teach about the Song of Songs to my students. And then later on, of course, they were helping me in cultivating and maintaining the Mary Garden that I created at the university. So what is the Song of Songs? It's a journey of love. The lovers in the song, we may not know their names, we may not know their ages, but they represent every man and every woman. But in religious writings, the bridegroom actually is the Heavenly Father, and the bride is the church. So it's an allegory of these two lovers. We are able to articulate our yearnings through their journey, because their journey is made up of yearnings too, of being intimate, able to express their love to one another. And yet there is also the journey of sorrows, because when they are apart, they feel the emptiness, they feel a void. and they get happy again with the reunion, and hopefully with the union, the consummation of their love to one another. But we have to understand also that, uh, you know, sexual, the sexuality and human love are implanted in us too. But we have to wait for the proper time when we can do that. So that's the essence.
And I love that. You know, everyone loves a good love story, and what the best one should be the one about Christ and the church and your journey,
Mm-hmm.
finding Christ, right? Um, can you share with us a snippet that isn't in the blurb or excerpt of the book?
Okay, so since this is love, you will find, and since this is about a garden, you will find the metaphors, similes, and all these kinds of literary tools that will be used to express the love of the man and the woman. And particularly, the enclosed garden really meant the woman's virginity, that she is really reserved for this man. And then, of course, we will be able to see how they journey and make that commitment to one another. It's a very a tempting world. Sometimes relationships fall, and well, this one, they will show us that how they were able to make it. So I hope this will get them to read it, especially now that we have so much sexual freedom, and the generation of relationships, divorces. And I hope this will help us to go back to that original plan of the Father.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Now, in the book, which of the main characters holds a special place in your heart, and why?
Okay, so in both books, I talk about the Virgin Mary. The Virgin Mary has been part of my theology course because I teach theology of Mary and the communion of saints. But other than that, she has been a force in my life ever since in my young age. So why do I love her? Why do people love her? Because she is our connection between the divine and humanity. And she has stayed very faithful to her role as the mother of God, of the Son of God. And I think her virtues, her attributes are really excellent to emulate. And she is very much a part of our society and culture. And I think it's been a grace for me, a blessing to be able to teach about her and to know about her life.
Thank you, Andrea. What was the inspiration for this story?
For the second book or the first book?
So we're talking about Romance of the Enclosed Garden.
Okay. Um, as I've said, before I wrote this, I was in Ancio, Italy, and I was on a pilgrimage, and I had a brief vision of paradise, and somehow there was that voice that told me, learn about my word through the garden. It stayed on me for many years. I studied, and I discovered that there is such a sanctity in nature, in everything that created by God, especially the garden. So I found out that the book, the Song of Songs, is really a love letter from the Father, from God. Here he tries to woo us, he tries to pursue us, he tries to court us, using all the creation that he made. So the flowers, the trees, the plants, even animals, mountains, and hills, they all have an important contribution to our understanding of him. And here in the Song of Songs, everything has been relayed there. At first, people thought it was a love letter only to Israel, but then they realized that this this cannot be. If it is in the Bible, it has to have a canonical status, and they discovered that because the Father has this love for us, He sent His only Son, and through the cooperation of the Virgin Mary, we had the incarnation. And basically, that's the whole point of this, is to realize the Father's love for us.
Thank you. And Andrea, can you share with us what the journey was like to write Romance of the Enclosed Garden, Song of Songs?
Okay. Well, we had the pandemic, 3 years, okay, of isolation. And a few months before, I lost my husband, okay, and whom I love very much. And it came to a point when you know you are grieving, and at the same time there is this wish to overcome the grief, to and I realized that it was the time for me to write the Romance of the Enclosed Garden, because I could not forget the love that we had. So that has been the journey, and it went very well, because with the isolation, with the fear of death, of loss of someone, again, you want to remember, to recall the love that God has for us. I wanted people to have hope, as I was also struggling to have hope. I wanted people to be happy, and that's the reason why I wrote it. And sort of not only therapeutic for me, but it's a memorial for my husband.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry for your loss, but
Yes.
you were creating something beautiful. And at least, from that pain, you were able to come up with something beautiful to remember your husband and,
Mhm.
to give people hope. So I think that's really lovely. We're going to talk more about how your writing journey is. So, what inspired you to become an author?
I think I've always been amazed and in awe about the beauty of creation. Even when I was young, I always wondered in religion classes, why did God create a garden? Why in the book of Genesis, when you open it, you are already facing a garden, the Garden of Eden, and it is an enclosed one. Why? So that question kept on coming up, and then I began to follow his trail. You know, uh, I was really an avid naturalist, I would say, and I love to paint, and I would draw everything that I see. I love to pick up flowers. So it was like these things around nature are speaking to me, and I had to write about them. So I would keep a journal, and since I was 9, and this journal, these writings were part of my publications when I was in college. I became an editor of the newspaper and literary editor. So I had been writing. I don't know, it just comes naturally to me. I want to remember beautiful things.
Well, maybe that's God's gift to you, and so you can use it later on for your purpose in life.
Mm,
Have you always wanted to be a writer?
I guess so. I took up journalism in college. Yeah.
And you started since you were 9, so that's a long.
Yeah, I was keeping my journal. And I used to I write, I still write poetry. I love poems. Some of them published before, and in newspapers and magazines. I've written a lot of articles on garden and spirituality. So I'm proud of that. I just want to let people know the beauty of God in His creation.
That's very wonderful. Um, how would you see, or how do you see your book 5 years from now, The Romance of the Enclosed Garden Song of Songs?
I think it is going to be a part of my curriculum at St. John's. And then, because I've been teaching it for some time now before I wrote the book. And then I created a Mary Garden at St. John's since 2012. That will go on as an academic service learning for students where they maintain it, cultivate it, and understand what the enclosed garden is about. And then I see it as part of a retreat in a monastery or in a pastoral institute, and which is happening soon. I am going to give a retreat on December 3rd in a monastery. So that's what I see.
Well, that's exciting stuff.
Yes, it is exciting.
And now, how do you take literary criticism?
I haven't received anything yet. Uh, I think I will be open to it because I want to improve myself, especially if it's coming from people who are authoritative on the subject matter. But then, of course, I cannot neglect students. You know, students who I deal with. They know more. I learn from them, you know, and I'll keep on learning.
Well, you know what I like about that is even if they're younger than you, they're students, you're still willing to learn from them because life is all about experience, right? And learning from each other, not only from someone that is higher than you or more
Yeah.
authoritative.
Oh
So,
no, I bless them all the time because I just as they learn from me, I learn from them more. So it's a beautiful two-way relationship. They're from first year to fourth year. So, you know, when you talk to them about sex or about human love based on the book, they blush. But then when they get to understand the meanings, the allegory of the book itself, they really take it. And you know, the comments that I get from them are really very rewarding. So I am going to continue. These are people or young millennials who are struggling with relationships too. So if there is a guide for them, at least you know, you save them from heartaches, and hopefully they will have a happy relationship. You know, the boy-girl relationship.
I like. Well, thank you. And what advice would you give a new writer, someone just starting out?
Well, first of all, you have to have the passion, and the commitment, and then the love for the subject. You have to dig deeper into yourself, find out what is it that you want to share with the world, and how are you going to share that. And then, of course, you have to have a good command of English and read a lot on the subject matter that you're going to talk to, because you need authoritative figures to back up what you're saying.
All right. Thank you. I think that's really good advice. Now, where can readers purchase your books?
Well, from my website and then from the online Barnes and Nobles and Amazon, and then other bookstores online.
Thank you. And then if they wanted to find more about you and your other book, where can they go?
They go to my website, Andrea Oliva Florendo Gardens.com. Hopefully, I'll be on Instagram soon.
Yeah. And my last question is, how's your experience working with Bookmarc Alliance?
Oh, very great. You know, for my first book, I didn't have any Bookmarc Alliance advertising or promotion. It was hard because I only wanted to write, but to do the promotion, to do the tours, it was difficult for a writer. But now you have made it easy for me because now I'm free to write my third book. I'm writing my third book, and I will surely need another uh, help when it comes out. I love the people, Sophia, Leah, and Gwen, Shane. They have all been there for me, and they always have these updated follow-ups. It's like we had become friends, you know. So thank you so much, and I hope to meet them someday.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Andrea. We're happy that you're pleased with working with Bookmark Alliance, and we're looking forward to nourishing this relationship with you. This was a
Mhm.
great interview. I had so much fun talking to you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, and God bless you.
God bless you too.